Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You see, this flower, guess who gave it to me yesterday? My son. So, my son has been giving me flowers ever since he was 2. So, I feel really, really special, because first of all, I love flowers, and second of all, I never taught him this, so that was really interesting. Um, it's interesting how that works, right? And so I'm a lucky mom, I feel very lucky. I'm definitely not a perfect mom, but I try, and so yeah, I feel really fortunate, to be getting flowers from my son, every single day. And yeah, so, anyways, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you guys are having an excellent day. I hope you're, relaxed, and I hope you're doing excellent at work if you're at work, or maybe you're just at home. And I hope you guys are, I don't know, enjoying your time, right? Each moment should be cherished, right? So living in the moment and not worrying about the future is what it's all about, right? Learning how to live in the present and really living, So it's the only time when we can actually live, right? Is being in the present. And yeah, trying our best to be present in most situations, That's why, guys, also, I live, every time I go out now, right? Is what I do is, I leave my phone at home, okay? And so whenever I'm outside, I don't have my phone with me, And so that makes a huge difference, I think, in terms of how I also show up for my son, because I know when I'm at the house, sometimes I can use my phone, and because I'm using my phone, uh, I'm not fully present with my son, right? And so that's not a good thing. Emotional availability, right, is extremely important, especially when it comes to our kids, right? And so, uh, not just with our kids, actually, right? When it comes to our partners too, right? I know what I've been seeing a lot, and that's everywhere, right? When I was traveling, is that, couples are like sitting in the same place, right? They're right next to each other, and not just couples, friends too, right? um, Even some of my students talked about this, and it's that instead of being with one another, right, like really being present with one another, right, they're on their phones, and I understand. I'm not going to necessarily judge these situations because we do need a good balance, right, when it comes to when we can be present and when we cannot, right? When we just need a break. And so being on our phones sometimes gives us this break, right? And so that's why sometimes I use my phone at the house, it's because I need a break. And that's my way of taking it sometimes, So yeah, so the situation is always different, just seeing a couple with their phones, you know, maybe in a restaurant, right? Uh, I'm not going to judge necessarily, okay? But if that's what they're doing for most of the time, then they definitely need to rethink this, right? Because, um, presence, like I said, is just so incredibly important, right? Being present for one another, for our kids. Also, it's a safety issue too, when it comes to our kids, right? And if you're not present, sometimes I've seen parents, with their kids and just on the phones and like walking on the beach, right? And they're just walking away from their kid. The kid is way behind, right? And I'm thinking to myself, wow, like imagine if someone, with bad intentions, right? Like a child trafficker or something, just decides to swoop in. This will be super easy for them because the parents are not present. They're just paying attention to their phones. Both of them have walked away far enough, right? So there's a huge distance. And you can just run in and just sweep the kid, and that's it. They'll never see their child again, basically. Okay, so it's really about just also protecting your kids. They're very little. I know we can't be present all the time. That's impossible. And in fact, it shouldn't be done, right? Because there has to be a balance, right? If you're a parent, you have to learn how to create this balance everywhere, right? Giving them enough attention, but also not too much, right? Because they will get spoiled with too much attention. They'll expect it all the time, right? And then later on, they'll become entitled. They will feel like they're owed this attention from everyone else, right? So there has to be this balance, and not enough, right? Also creates problems too. So yeah, but I feel like, we should definitely learn how to be more present without our phones, and I will make a separate video about this, okay, about phones and, the fact that, phones have created a completely different generation, basically, right? But I'm not going to talk about this in this video, right? In this video, I want to discuss boundaries, okay? Boundaries and standards, okay? So what you will learn when you start loving yourself more and when you start developing a healthier relationship with yourself is that you will learn how to develop boundaries, okay? And not just boundaries, but your standards for pretty much everything will increase, okay? Because more often than not, right, and I told you guys this in other videos, right, is that when, when we don't value ourselves, more often than not, we don't value the work that we're doing, we don't value our energy, we don't value our effort even, we don't value our time, we can be giving it away for free, right? We don't value of course there are some occasions for that when that's okay, right? But in general, right, for the most part, and in the majority of time, right? We don't value our, empathy even, right? When people, I don't know, speak to us, right? And are like the way that we make them feel, maybe, right? Maybe we make other people feel heard, understood, right? Things like that, right? And so when you start developing a healthy relationship with yourself, right? When you start loving yourself, you realize how much you have to bring to the table. It's not just your skills, right? Maybe your professional skills that you've also developed, right? That you didn't value in the past. I've met people like this too, people that don't value the professional skills that they have. They think they're amateurs and they've been amateurs for years, right? And they've been charging the same rate for years, right? And that's not okay, right? If you are a professional, if you've been practicing your skills, your professional skills, whatever they are, right, for years, then they have probably improved. If you've done a lot of work, right, then you have experience, you've gained experience, you've gotten better as a result, right? And so therefore you should be charging more money, right? But more often than not, our low self-esteem prevents us from charging more because we feel like we don't deserve it, okay? And so this is one of the things that you really should be working on, right? When it comes to like raising your standards, like when it comes to everything, right? Like how do I want to be treated, right? What do I deserve? What do I bring to the table? What is my real value? Like, what do I, what do I bring that I didn't recognize as extremely valuable before, right? So you have to think about all of those things. You have to think about all of those things because more often than not, when your self-esteem is low, you don't really, you give yourself away, or you take. It can be also the opposite of that, right, too. But it depends, I think, in terms of like who you are. If you're a narcissist, right, a lot of times you will be the opposite. You'll be at the end of the spectrum, right? So you'll probably be a taker. You'll take, right? And so if you're like a giver, right? And what was that? I don't know what that was. There was like a big sound. Anyways, maybe it was like upstairs, my neighbor. I don't know. Anyways, but so yeah, if you're a giver, right, you have to think about all the things that make you a valuable person, right? And you have to start setting. You have to raise the standard. You have to raise the standard. You have to raise the standard as far as how you allow people to treat you. You know, I know a lot of guys have this problem in particular, right? So a lot of guys have this problem of like speaking out, right? And so I've noticed this before, right? And I was thinking like, you really don't want this, but you're not saying anything. Like, that's interesting, you know? Like, why wouldn't you say something? Speak out, right? So he's not speaking out because deep down, his self-esteem is low. He doesn't have enough love for himself. And the reason being is because he thinks that by speaking out, right? By telling me what his standards are, right? But by what he wants and what he needs, right? He thinks that he will lose this relationship with me or this friendship or whatever, right? And so, you see, a lot of people can take advantage of that, okay? If the person is not good, okay? That's exactly what they want, okay? They don't want you to speak up, okay? They will act like they're a prize when in fact you're the prize, okay? More often than not, you know, givers, if you're a giver, you're the prize, okay? And givers more often than not, you know, especially if they have low self-esteem, then they don't recognize what they're giving. They don't recognize all of those things that I mentioned, right, as valuable, right? And so they're giving all of this for free until they have nothing left to give, until, you know, they themselves are completely exhausted, just drained, right? Guys, I used to, as an empathic individual, right, I used to, like, I used to be so drained and so exhausted all the time. And I was thinking something was wrong with me, you know? But I will make a separate video on that too, okay? And why that is, okay? But yeah, this can happen, okay? This can happen. And you just get emotionally exhausted, right? And so you might start thinking, okay, maybe there's something physically wrong with you, right? Maybe I'm exhausted because I'm not getting enough sleep. Maybe I'm exhausted because it's adrenal fatigue, right? So you start thinking maybe there are some kind of health problems, but it's not, actually that's not it, okay? It has to do with energy, okay? So it has to do with energy and the energy that you've basically been given away to everyone, okay? It has to do with energy, really. And it can also, of course, have to do with physical problems too, right? But in most cases, it is something that we cannot see, okay? And so also a lot of people, and it happens unconsciously, is that they tend to attach to your energy, okay? So if you're connected to source, okay, a lot of people will unconsciously attach themselves to you, okay? And so if you're not clearing those cords, if you're not clearing your energy every single day, right? If you're not asking God to clear it, you know, you can do that too, right? Then you're going to, a lot of times you're going to be sucked dry, okay? And so, you know, in most cases, people don't know that they're doing it unconsciously, right? But sometimes it is conscious, you know? So if they're like narcs, right? Narcissists, they're energy vampires, basically they do this very consciously, okay? And so yeah, there's that, right? And so when it comes to, you know, setting boundaries, right, it's going to feel extremely uncomfortable if you're not used to saying no. If you're not used to speaking up for yourself, you're going to feel extremely uncomfortable in the beginning. And you also have to, if you want to get the best, okay, because you know that you deserve the best, right? You now have a higher self-esteem, right? You've developed that healthy relationship with yourself, so you know your skills, you know what you have to bring to the table, right? Because you worked on yourself, right? So you that makes you an extremely valuable person, right? So by knowing your value, okay, you're not going to settle for less now, right? So you're going to raise your standards and you're going to keep them there, right? And so what you have to be prepared for is you have to be prepared to lose, okay? You have to be prepared to lose, okay? And that means losing the people or the opportunities that are not serving you, okay? Because those opportunities or those people, they could have very well been trying to take advantage of you, okay? Of your skills, of your energy, whatever, right? Of your resources and whatever it is, of your value, basically, okay? So it might feel uncomfortable, you might lose out, okay? But that's okay. Okay, that's okay, because by having those higher standards, eventually, sooner or later, someone is going to realize your value and your worth, right? And they're going to give you what you want and what you're asking for, okay? So speaking out, okay, it's extremely important, right? If you don't ask, you will never receive, right? And so you always have to ask, you always have to say, okay? So if you're not speaking out about what you want, right, then also you're suppressing your emotions, right? Guys tend to do this a lot too, girls too, but guys too, okay? Guys, for the most part, right, they're not speaking out of fear of losing something, right? Or even getting into a fight, okay? That can be that too, right? So they're like conflict avoidant, right? Because they don't want to fight, they don't like the conflict, right? It could go back to their childhood. Maybe their parents were always fighting, right? And so now they became like conflict avoidant, right? And so yeah, you have to realize that you have to speak up, you have to stand up for yourself. That's the part of like being your own advocate, defending yourself, right? Being your own best friend, like, hey, I deserve this and this is what I want to get, right? Or hey, I don't think I'm comfortable with that, and I'm sorry I can't give you this at this time, right? But maybe next time, right? So there's always a way of saying something nicely, right? And gently. And if the other person like blows up at you, right, and doesn't respect your side, doesn't respect what you want, then maybe they're not the person for you, you know? So just think about that too, right? And so, yeah, be prepared to, when you speak out, when you stand up, right, for yourself, when you say something, be prepared to lose jobs, opportunities, people that are not for you. Okay, they're not for you. You deserve better, okay? So you deserve better. Boundaries, they don't feel comfortable, okay? But guys, nothing grows in the comfort zone, okay? In most cases in life, we always have to step out of our comfort zone. You know, we have to step out of our comfort zone in order to, you know, the higher the risk, the higher the reward, right? And so if you once you live in the comfort zone, then you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to build up all of those negative emotions like resent, right? Like if you do, for example, if you don't want to do something and you don't speak out, the resentment is gonna start building, okay? And eventually maybe you will blow up, right? And it's also unfair to the other person, right? Especially if they're a good person. You know, it's unfair to them because they don't know what's on your mind, right? Unless they're like telepathic, you know, which is possible too, you know me, right? This channel is all about that too, right? But let's just say they're not, right? And in most cases, you know, you will have to speak out. You have to give them your thoughts, okay? You have to tell them what you want and what you need. And men have a problem with that, and I know that. And so don't let this get to an explosion. Speak out. And get out of that comfort zone. Train yourself. You know, it's not going to feel comfortable, okay? It's not going to feel comfortable. A lot of things that are good for us do not feel comfortable, okay? Exercise is one of those things, right? Like sprinting, right? That doesn't feel comfortable, but it makes your body stronger, okay? It makes you more efficient. It makes you more I don't know, it allows you to build endurance, right? To build strength and all of that good stuff, right? Same with like traveling, right? Like it might feel scary in the beginning, right? But also you benefit so much by traveling, right? By going outside of what you're used to, right? And so doing things that you're not comfortable are in most cases great for you, and they're great for your self-growth, and they're great for your self-esteem, right? And so you want to build a higher self-esteem. If you want to build a higher self-esteem, learn to get out of your comfort zone. Okay, anyways, thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you can take something from this video, guys. If you haven't already, please check out my books. Okay, I have an awesome book that's out. I have and it's all about healing, right? It allows you, it will allow you to heal. It's like a guidebook towards healing within, of course, right? And also I have a course that's out. Okay, it's a health and fitness course. And a nutrition course. It's going to please check that out too. Okay, it offers a lot of value, and I think you can take this value with you for the rest of your life. Okay, you can teach your children too. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like. Okay, and I will see you in another video.